Hi, good morning, guys. Hello, 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 hi. Vanakkam, namaste. Vanakkam, ellarku vanakkam. Yeah, good morning. It's very good to interact with you guys after 1 month. Hope you all doing good. Yeah, Arshia, Shanmati, Srinivasan, Selva, Harshita Priya, Jeena Priya, Tarun, Ashraf, Samvardhana, Anuvarshini, Sujata, Renuka Devi, Venkat, Sampath, Vishalini, Aruneshwara, Harish, Kritik, Chitrabhanu, Suryash. Yeah. So anyone has to join yet? Mativadana, Priya Krishnan. Good morning, good morning. I'm Nutla. Akshya, yeah. Okay, Ra. So, good morning, good morning. Aradhna, yeah. Pradeep, Steve, yeah. Please do join, just 2 minutes. 1 minute we'll wait and then we'll start. Harish Raj, okay. Okay, now. Yeah, you would have gone through, the schedule I gave, right? So for botany and zoology. So yeah, you please follow, and I will be interacting here also. Yeah, that's it, right? We will start. Yeah. So you would have gone through the schedule I have given, and for both botany and zoology, I have arranged in the order of the weightage where the previous year's question papers. You see, now each lesson I kept in the order of the weightage, 12th standard and 11th standard as well. So within this 38 to 39 days, we will revise all the lessons. I gave even 1 or 2 days. Uh, Good morning, Durga. Yeah. So I gave 1 or 2 days for one lesson as well, because those lessons are very important and hotspots for this questions to get. So make use of the time, right? So follow that plan, stick to that plan, right? If any adjustments in further, we'll see about it, right? So previous year's questions, if we analyze almost 10 years question papers, if we analyze, they have this pretty much weightage. So based upon the weightage, I kept for one lesson. If you take, it is given only 1 day. It means that it has less weightage. Okay, out of 38 lessons, the chances of getting questions from that lesson would be very less. So one lesson, though the lesson is very short, right? I gave two days for that lesson. It means it can get questions. From that lesson we can get more questions. That is the logic behind it. Okay, it's not random arrangement of lessons. So that is one point. Yeah, Shalini, good morning. Yeah. So for CBSE students, like you would have aware of the NCERT text and portions, right? So we will be using based on that text, right? We have to be more thoroughly revising those tests. Okay. So today what we're gonna do is we will have a quick summary of these two lessons: organisms and population, and the first lesson of the botany. And these are all the 12 standard portions, so we need not pay that much of involve that much of time in this. Okay, you are all pretty much aware of it, and we will solve few questions as well, right? Yeah, we'll solve few questions as well within this session. Means I will try to whoever the NEET students already there, the A1 batch, right, and then A2, whoever all mixing with these classes, they are already aware of what is easy, moderate, and difficulty level. Okay, so based upon these three levels also, I will be discussing questions. So for this first session, let's go on, and from tomorrow, we will try to inculcate, or we will try to insert as many as inputs possible. So for the first day, right, this is the first day for you guys. So let's get adjusted and try to see this platform, online platform, for the first time because of the COVID crisis. So let's begin with the session. Okay, so these are all the instructions, and after the class you have to go through the you have to go through these two lessons in your specific time. So you can go ahead and you can finish at any given time. You have to finish today itself. If any doubts, you can approach me, you can message me, so that I will uh, answer that. Okay, let's dive into the topics, contents, and let's see the summary session of the first lesson that we are going to deal is the organisms and population. Okay, that is more familiar for both of us, like, and then botany lesson we will come back after the organisms and population. Okay, so is it clear? My voice is clear. Is it audible? Is everything clear? Shall we go on? Everyone, please do respond. Is everything clear? No doubts, right? So I'm looking for responses. So is everything clear? I will start with it. Okay, fine. Yeah. So let's when it comes to NEET, right? We have to be very yeah, good. We have to be very careful with this. What are the aspects that we may get confused, right? We may get confused of, and we should be very much careful in reading those contents and revising those contents very carefully, right? So when it comes to organisms and population, yeah, who is she? Okay, okay, that's Daksha. Yeah, good morning. Yeah, okay, yeah. So let's start with this. Okay. So in organisms and population, right? It's one of the ecology unit, right? So organisms and population, right? So in that we have read about physiology of physiological ecology. It means based upon temperature, right? How this different biomes are varying. So we have seen different biomes, right? So I told many times that this graph that was given in the first, right, that is a very important graph, right? So that needs to be carefully studied, and you have to be practicing, and for example, what is the mean annual temperatures of a desert, of a grassland, of a tropical forest, and temperate forest, as well as coniferous forest, and Arctic and alpine tundra. So these are the aspects that we gonna we have to revise thoroughly, and this is the aspect, for example, regional and local variation within a biome lead to the formation of different habits. you know if you see this biome, right, what is a biome actually? If you start with the species and then population, community, and then ecosystem, and you have got a biome, and even the entire earth can be call it as a giant biome, or giant biosphere, right? A biotic component and abiotic component is it's a biosphere. So within the biosphere, for our understanding, we made simpler biomes to understand, for example, grassland, desert, and for each biome there are characteristics would vary, right? Organisms vary, and the physical conditions and physiological conditions vary. Like biotic and abiotic components also will be varying, and this part will be again revised in the ecology, ecosystem chapter. That then they would be very much clear. For example, if you see, life exists even the extreme and harsh habitats like Rajasthan desert, as well as rain-soaked Megalayan forests. So that's the variation. You will see the biotic components in the both the biomes, and but they have a different, different, physiological conditions. So that's how this entire what is this graph is very much important, right? So when we talk about the physico-chemical components, right, nothing but the water, light, temperature, soil, these are all comes under abiotic components, and like the predators, pathogens, parasites, these comes under biotic components. So all the biotic components and abiotic components you need to be revising. For example, temperature. So what temperature does, right? The biotic factors would actually more survive better, and what for example, in temperature itself, right, we have a different types of organisms. For example, eurythermal, right, stenothermal. Can you tell what is eurythermal means? Eurythermal eurythermal what do you mean by eurythermal? Yeah, in control, yeah, it means they can actually tolerate a wide range of temperatures, right? For example, we can tolerate a wide range, yeah, exactly, wide range of temperatures. So stenothermal is they are actually confined to narrow range of temperatures. So in this chapter we will get these words, and examples of these eurythermals and stenothermals are very important. Okay, at the same time we have got water as an abiotic component, right? So in the water, pH is very important, right? In the same way, eurythermal, you have urehaline. What do you mean by urehaline? Tolerance to a wide range of salinity. Salinity is we are talking about the ionic concentration or the pH, as simple as that. So eurythermals, urehaline and stenohaline. Exactly. Correct. Shanmati, Srinivasan, correct. Tarun, correct. Harshita Priya, correct. Arshia, correct. Mativalana, correct. Exactly. Priya Krishnan, correct. Satya Priya, yeah, everyone is correct. Okay, very good. So like that, you have got urehaline, stereohaline when it comes to water as an abiotic component, and when it comes to light, right? So we have a organisms which are actually living. When we talk about ecosystems, in ecosystems lesson, we will be talking about different types of ecosystem, right? We will be talking about terrestrial ecosystem and aquatic ecosystem. In aquatic ecosystem, the light reaches the surface of the sea as well as the bottom, so there would be a gradation of the light intensities. Exactly. So there will be a gradation in the light intensity and the quality of the light that these producers would utilize. So in this, you have water as an important and temperature is more important. And in the light, what are the wavelengths, right, at which these organisms survive is important. Those things you need to underline and you should be memorizing, or you should be following those. Okay. And what I will do is at the end of the day, I will try to prepare some flow charts and I will put it today. And from tomorrow, we'll follow. Okay. When it comes to soil as an abiotic component, we have a different composition of the soil, which really affects the biotic component. Like that, this is the aspects of the abiotic components, and what is the responses. So next would be the responses for the abiotic factors like regulators, conformers, and migratory. So it means who actually regulates, who actually migrate, who actually conform to certain conditions. So that graph is utmost important, and you should it may come and they may remove these conformers, regulators, or they may give, but they may ask, they may give all the details, but they may ask the examples of conformers, regulators, partial regulators at the same time. what is the logic behind that. So because this is a NEET exam, we need not worry about the sentence formation, etc. But we need to understand the sentences. So when it comes to the metric students who are all attending this class, what we can do is that when you heard the concept of conformers, you go back to your metric textbook and you see whether that is existing or not. Otherwise, I will post a link of the CBSE PDFs of the syllabus PDF, so that you can download and you can follow. And if you have any doubts, personally you can message me and I can answer you, especially metric students. And for CBSE students, you already have the textbook, so you please follow. So these are the examples that cover. So within these lessons, when it comes to this conformers, regulators, partial regulators, concepts and their examples are very much important. I told very clearly that this online session would not be in an explanatory form. Even the last year also we had a similar sort of outlining the concepts, right? And when it comes to migration, suspension, so even the migration and suspension, we need to focus on the examples, as simple as that. But if you have any kind of an because I have to cover both botany and zoology, I'm going a little quicker, right? And we'll see if I can take one day one class or like that. We will try to see. So in this regulations, what is important is that hibernation, estivation, diapause, and their examples. Hibernation bears during winter, estivation of small snails and fishes during the summer. Diapause is nothing but a stage of suspended development. So these are the aspects which we actually try to make mistakes. So you should be underlining this and make a box of it, and you have to read about it. Okay. So when it comes to adaptations, so in adaptations we have different types of adaptations we see. For example, so are you able to follow, guys? Are you able to follow what I'm telling? What we are going through? Are you able to follow? So I'm giving a quick outline of the chapter, summary of the chapter. So if any topic has to be explained, you can put it there, and I will explain which is difficult. And 12th standard portions are not that difficult right now. 11th standards, I have a different type of approach to follow. Okay. Yeah, fine. So when it comes to adaptations, what you have to remember is we have to remember about the adaptations of desertic plants like cam plants, right? Desertic plants are utmost important. You should know in photosynthesis we will be reading. Okay. So when I talk about photosynthesis, again I will talk about the cam C3 C4 C4 plants as well. Need not worry at all. Okay. And when it comes to adaptations of desertic plants, you have a kind of they will have a minimizing the water loss, right? So that's what we have a special photosynthetic pathway, that is cam plants, right? At the same time, example Openshire is a very well-known example that you can get it. So in the adaptations, plant adaptations of a desertic adaptation as well as adaptations of mammals are utmost important. For example, you have a Allen's rule. Allen's rule I already explained in the class itself, right, during the revision. That is, mammals from colder climates have shorter ears, limbs to reduce the heat loss. That is Allen's rules. Allen's rule. So this Allen's rule is important, and you have to be identifying where we have to use this Allen's rule. Allen's rule is nothing but the body ears to limb ratio, so that it reduces the loss of heat, right? Because they have to adapt to the certain climatic condition. So when it comes to adaptations, these are the few adaptations. At the same time, biological adaptations, when we talk about biological adaptations, archaebacteria is very much important. Okay, archaebacteria, where it can actually survive even at a higher temperature, more than 100 degrees centigrade, right? At the same time, high altitude places also they can survive. So how it is able to survive archaebacteria? Because of the physiological adjustments and adaptation that it has developed in it, as simple as that. And when it comes to behavioral adaptations, you can see desertic lizards, right, has can actually absorb the heat when their body temperature is low. So this is one of the behavioral adaptation. At the same time, burrowing is one of the behavioral adaptations. So when it comes to adaptations, these are the thing. And we have studied about different pyramids, right? So this is about the when it comes to abiotic factors and their responses. So is it clear, guys? What are you able to follow? What I'm able to tell? I mean, what I'm telling, like what we are discussing. So it would be a little faster. At the same time, you need to follow. And if you are unable to follow, please let me know here itself so that I will repeat again. So if you have any doubts, please ask me. I will repeat again. That's not an issue. Any metric students and CBSE students, whoever it is, okay, please make sure that you should be leaving the class with some clarity. Okay, if you have doubts, please ask me. So far, is it clear? It means so far what we talked about the abiotic components and the biomes and abiotic, their effects, right? How they influence, and what are the adaptations, or what are the adaptations does these organisms do? So one after this class, now you can view this video for many times, and whenever whenever you're reading, right, it will make more sense what I'm discussing right now. Okay, so when it comes to the next aspect, that is populations. Populations, the most important aspect of this lesson is the curves. What I mean, these pyramids, like nothing but age pyramids, right? So age pyramids, where we actually differentiated into growth, pre-reproductive, and reproductive, right? So these expanding and stable and declining pyramids are very important, and you need to be identifying. And when it comes to measurement of population size or density, we have a simple formula, that is n t plus 1, right, equal to nt plus b plus I minus d plus c, right? It means natality, birth rate, death rate, mortality rate, natality rate, and immigration and emigration, which affects the population density. So here that chart, that flow chart is there, right? That is utmost important. So that flow chart you need to be revising thoroughly, so that based upon that, it means that which factor does negatively affect the population density, which factors does positively affect the population density, it will be shown in that, right? Okay, so in academics, we have already solved few problems regarding it, right? So that's what I took the class at the level of need, so that now it will be very easy to follow. Okay, so whoever attending this class for the first time, right, it would be little difficult to follow, because I am just giving outline. Okay, not much explanation on any topic, so you need to understand that. When it comes to growth models, we have two types of growth models, right? And the two types of growth models, you need to go through the graphs, right? The sigmoid curve and the J-shaped curve. So how the sigmoid curve, how the sigmoid curve, and where exactly which organisms does this sigmoid curve shows when the resources are limited. What is the carrying capacity, the K, right? Or how to find out this, whatever, if the questions are asked, like how to find out the intrinsic rate of natural increase. So how do we find out? We put the already given data, just like any math we can solve by using that equation that were given in the book. So in this population growth curve, these two population growth curves are important, and you should just have a practice of few questions. Okay, so when we talk about when we do few questions, it will be more easy aspect. Okay, when it comes to population interactions, you can make a simple table, or I will give that now whatever I'm telling, right, whatever I'm discussing the outline, what I will give is I will post it in the group. Okay, after 1 hour I will post it in the group, that picture, so that you can practice by your own. Okay, the bullet points. So when it comes to interactions, you have mutualism, competition, predation, parasitism, commensalism, amensalism. So these are the aspects that you need to cover, right? What are the examples of the mutualistic organisms? What are the competitive organisms? Predation, parasitic, commensalism, amensalism, right? So is that clear? So for example, if you take example of competition, there is two types of competition exist. One is intra and one is inter-specific competition, right? In CBSE book, in NCERT book, they talked about interspecific competition, which is of a more potential force in organic evolution. So this question, this has to be underlined and this has to be remembered and this has to be understood first. Why interspecific competition is more, more potent force in organic evolution than the natural selection. So this has to be specifically read thoroughly. Is that clear? So for example, because this competition is existing within the same species, so, in a related species would compete. That's what this was told as potent force in organic evolution. Right? So are you able to follow this, right? So these are the aspects of 13th lesson. What are the so far what I told is an important aspects. Why I kept this this lesson first? It seems it means that this has important chapter, but in 1 day you have to complete. You can't guys. It's not academics. You can't stay on one lesson for 5 days or like that. So within the given time frame, within the same day, you have to finish it. As simple as that. Is that clear? So this is about the 13th lesson. Yeah. For the first class, please do adjust. Okay. Okay. What we can do is you can post your questions. You have your timetable, right? So tomorrow you have one more chapter. What is the tomorrow chapter actually? Like, so if you see, for example, I can give you an idea so that you can have. For example, yeah, I'll give one idea. Okay, for example, tomorrow Thursday you need to prepare for sexual reproduction in flowering plants. Okay, I know that the botany has to be having a few doubts when it comes to 11 portions or 12 portions, or geology, anything based upon tomorrow's. You can write all the doubts today itself and post to me, so that tomorrow I will discuss those topics. Is that clear? Is that deal is okay for you guys? So that outline at the same time the concept that you have doubt or to be revised or to be taught again, I will be trying to adjust within this 1.5 hour time frame. So tomorrow class schedule, tomorrow class chapter, today itself you will see, and you can write those topics. You can go ahead with the list of the contents in the CBSE book, and sir, I need this topic needs to be explained, or I have a doubt in it. So like that you can post questions directly to me, so that I will compile that and I will try to prepare for that in the class. If this deal is okay, you're okay, fine. Yeah, that's great. Okay, so because we want to use this 1 hour, 1.5 hour very more productively, right? For the first for this class, for instructions and for adjusting, for understanding, it will take time. Don't worry about it, because if we spend this 10-15 minutes, later all the 38 days we can utilize, and we can efficiently utilize time. As simple as that. Okay, that's cool. Okay, go through the chapter name of tomorrow and post the questions to me. As simple as that. Okay. And now, okay, now let's jump into the next chapter, that is reproduction in organisms. You would have studied this, lesson n number of times, right? So in this reproduction of organisms, right, it has very less concepts to do, but the examples are important when it comes to, for example, lifespan of some organisms. Okay. Okay. So we are talking about chapter 1. So reproduction in organisms. In this, you have to make. You can. I will send some material which has all these bullet points. In that, you will be having lifespan of some organisms. For example, rice. What is the lifespan? Right. Banyan tree. What is the lifespan? Dog, butterfly, fruit fly. So you can just you have to try to relate to it, and you can memorize this thing. This chapter is something a memorizing kind of a chapter. You will have very less concepts in this, especially reproduction in organisms, right? When you talk about reproduction, what is reproduction? It's a very basic kind of a definition. At the same time, you have to know what are the different types of reproduction: sexual, asexual. In this asexual reproduction, again, what are the different types and their examples? You should be very pakka. Is that clear? For example, binary fission, multiple fission, right? Budding, vegetative propagation. And for example, what are the examples for the vegetative propagation? For example, what are vegetative propagules, right? For example, eyes in the potato. If you take a potato, you will find some bulging parts of potato. That is called eyes, right? So like that, rhizomes and banana. Rhizomes, for example, they are banana and ginger, right? So like that, these examples has to be uh, uh, 1050, right? Yeah. So these examples has to be thoroughly, memorizing. Okay, and these are all examples you see every now and then. And this is the 12th standard chapter. You have enough revision in this lesson as well. So asexual reproduction and its types and examples. I will share the worksheet also. Nothing to worry. So when it comes to sexual reproduction, what is the juvenile phase, for example, right? So in the sexual reproduction, you have different phases, right? So for example, it has juvenile phase. You have a reproductive phase as well. So at the same time, what are estrous cycle and menstrual cycle? Where do you observe examples, right? And then what is senescence, old age? So So if you see this entire reproduction, sexual reproduction, how and what are all the hormones does this reproduction do affect? For example, juvenile phase, what are the hormones? For example, reproductive phase, what are the hormones? Senescence phase. So these are the three different phases within the sexual reproduction. So when you see the in sexual reproduction, it is very important here, that is events that occur during the sexual reproduction. For example, this entire sexual reproduction can be differentiated into pre-fertilization events, fertilization events, and post-fertilization events. Right? In pre-fertilization event means gametogenesis. For example, this is where we can talk about both plant and animal aspects. But more of which we will talk about the what do you say, plant. For example, spore formation, right? Spore formation, ovule formation, gametogenesis. We will talk about gametogenesis when we talk about pre-fertilization events within this gametogenesis. So you have to remember what are the events that occur in the pre-fertilization, fertilization events, and post-fertilization events. I will share this document so that it will be easy. Okay, for example, you may be asked, like within this pre-fertilization events, gamete transfer is one of the aspect. Once the gamete is formed, it has to be transferred. So from animals to plants, the gamete transfer is very much different. So how exactly this gamete is transferring in plants is the important aspect, because in animals, human reproduction, we talk about sperms very well, right? Like that, here we will talk about pollen grains and pollen tube and the ions at which this pollen tube formation is very much important. And during the academic practicals, you have already done pollen formation, pollen tube formation as well. So here the important aspect needs to be covered is pollen grain and pollen grain formation. For example, the journey of sperm we talked about in human reproduction, like that, how this journey begins. For example, how the pollen grain meets the ovule. So that's for example, it falls on the stigma and then style it reaches to the tubule and then it goes to the ovule micropylar region and then it goes and it fuses with the nucleus. So those are the flowchart you need to be drawing. So when you are preparing, right, you need to draw or read in this way. Are you able to follow, guys? Is it making sense what I'm talking about? Yeah. Yeah. So in this, what are the aspects that we need to more focus is that we need to focus about, we need to more focus on, for example, unisexual, right? Unisexual, bisexual, right? These are the aspects and examples you need to focus. For example, homogametes or isogametes, their examples. Homogametes means nothing but similar gametes. It means they cannot categorize into male or female. So that is a very much different, right? So this, when we talk about this kind of a competitive exams, they may ask which are not just general. They may ask some unusual or exceptional examples. For example, if all gametes are of the different type, and if you male gametes and female gametes are different, everyone knew that. But the unusual thing is that, or there is an exceptional case that there are organisms which do they form homogametes or isogametes. It means similar gametes. It means male and female gametes are the same. For example, cladophora, right? Some algae like cladophora forms male and female gametes are the same. So this is the example you need to focus. So likewise, you need to identify the examples which are exceptional. Okay. So this is about the pre-fertilization events. When comes to fertilization events, that is in plants we say syngamy, right? We have types of different types of fertilization like that. For example, external fertilization, and it has advantages and disadvantages also. Internal fertilization that we've already talked about in human reproduction. External fertilization where you will find different, for example, for to get externally fertilized, right, there needs to be some medium, right? This gametes cannot just, they cannot just reach the womb just like that. So they have to need some sort of medium. So especially this kind of external fertilization in plants do occur in aquatic setups during with the water movements. Okay. Especially when you talk about some algae, many algae and bony fishes, where you will find and even amphibians, you will be finding this external fertilization. And when it comes to disadvantage of this fertilization is the offsprings are extremely vulnerable to the predators, right? The offsprings, once they fertilize, right, they are not within the mother, right? So they have a high risk or prone to risk that the predators may eat them, right? They may kill. So when those are the disadvantages. When it comes to internal fertilization, this is the advantage. So likewise, in fertilization, the second stage has got different types of fertilization: external, internal fertilization, and their examples are very much important. Okay. When it comes to the next one, next aspect is coming to next aspect, that is post fertilization events. Post fertilization events, where post fertilization events are nothing but once the ovum and this pollen grain or the ovule or the pollen grain fuses, there comes a zygote. So zygote formation is where we talk about the post fertilization events. So in this post-fertilization events, we will be talking about different life cycles. So organisms do have different type of life cycles. We will be talking in the second lesson of botany. That is haploid life cycle, and which forms a haploid spores, right? It means zygotes divides by meiosis into haploid spores. Like that, we will be talking about this different life cycles in the next lesson, right? But in this lesson, you have to more concentrate on the examples in which, uh, for example, where do you find this haploid type of life cycle, right? So zygote formation is the one of the post-fertilization event, and then one more thing is embryogenesis. So embryogenesis is one of the post-fertilization events. In embryogenesis, you will be finding cell division, cell differentiation, and you should be very careful that you need to understand what is a cell differentiation meaning. In this the cell differentiation is will be taught in 11th botany portion again when I take up that lesson, when we talk about the tissues, and especially when we talk about the plant growth hormones, right? Plant physiology. In the plant physiology, plant growth hormones, I will talk about the plant differentiation, de-differentiation, differentiation. So all these aspects will be explained. Okay. So when we talk about post-fertilization events, we have a zygote formation and then embryogenesis. In the embryogenesis, two things would be involved. One is cell division and the cell differentiation. Cell differentiation is nothing but, one cell would form into other, right? And then it loses its capability of division. That's what when we talk about plant tissues, right? Permanent tissue formation. How does this xylem, phloem, and how they form? Parenchymatic cells, how they form? So we talk about all this secondary pit, how it will be formed. We will be dealing in the plant tissue aspects. But this embryogenesis is the next step in the post-fertilization events, right? In this post-fertilization events, the examples that you need to focus is oviparous and viviparous, right? What are the oviparous examples, organisms? For example, after incubation, young ones can hatch out, oviparous. When it comes to viviparous, what examples? That it means that zygotes develops into young one inside the female body, that comes as a viviparous. So what are the examples? So in this lesson, these are the aspects you need to focus. Okay, that is, first we will be talking about, you have to be revising the lifespans. Okay, you take butterfly, you see butterfly for a while, because it's a lockdown, you will be extremely bored and you might be pressured with all the studies as well, right? At the same time, the COVID panic will be also be there, so you have to space out the study time as well. You don't need to get a lot of stress. So imagine when you have a butterfly, you just try to ascertain whatever you're reading. For example, butterfly lifespan is just 1 to 2 weeks, right? Like that, you will be revising about the lifespans in this lesson. You will be revising about sexual reproduction and its types and examples, and then you will be going to read about, especially in asexual type of reproduction, this vegetative propagules and their examples are important. Okay. And then when it comes to sexual reproduction, right, what are the phases? Sexual reproduction phases can be of pre-fertilization events, fertilization events, and post-fertilization events. In pre-fertilization events, gametogenesis, gamete transfer. So in gametogenesis, what are homogametes, heterogametes? What are their examples? In gamete transfer, how does gamete transfer occurs in plants and animals? So what are those examples? Okay, these are the aspects you cover. And then fertilization events, what are the types of fertilization? Internal, external, advantages, disadvantages, examples. And then finally, post-fertilization events, zygote formation, and then division by mitotic divisions, nothing but cell division, and followed by differentiation. So these are the aspects that you cover in the lesson. And that's it for the outline of this lesson. The 2 lessons outline, I went very fast actually. Okay. So you please, before you leave this class, okay, right now or before leaving the class, you please subscribe and hit that bell icon, so that you will get instant notification whenever class would be a live. Okay, you no need to wait also. So please do subscribe and like every video. So please like, so that it will come, the videos can be notified for you very well when you hit that like bell icon. Okay, please do subscribe before you leave. Okay, must and should. Okay, at the same time, is it clear, guys, the outline I have given for these two chapters? Yeah, which chapter? I think Pong Pongvidi's. I think you have to be in the group. I already sent the schedule. Okay, the schedule I already given actually. So tomorrow's class would be on right. So tomorrow, sexual reproduction in the flowering plants, chapter 2 in the botany, reproductive health. Okay, you please go through the schedule. Okay, I will post. I will. Yeah, I will. I'll post a link also. Okay. So that is a case, guys. So what you? I hope this class is clear, right? So questions. Okay, let us see a few questions. Okay, we have 10 more minutes, so we'll see a few more questions. So try to do this question, so that for example, the term phylum was given. Okay, so this is something which is different. Okay. Okay, Ra. Let's do one question from organisms and population. Okay. Yeah. For example, in organisms and population, now it's a time to understand. Anyone can read, right? But here we need to read in a more productive manner. In the sense, like what are the important topics that needs to be revised. I already told right now, and I will post the worksheets also. You can go through that quick outlines. And the third aspect is you need to practice by flowcharts, etc., mnemonics, etc. Okay, and then you need to see as many as questions. You can have a online questions also you can see, and we need to practice as many questions as possible, because biology is of 360 marks, and it's not a joke, right? At least we should be scoring 333, 340, 322, 330 in that range. But our target is 360. Like every weekend test, how we kept the target, right? For example, let's see this question. A mutually beneficial association necessary for survival of both the partners is what? Are you able to follow what is my question? The question is a mutually beneficial association. Okay. I mean, the options are: option A, mutualism and symbiosis; option A, Guys, you need to wait for mutualism. Option A is mutualism and symbiosis. Option B, commensalism. Option C, commensalism. Option D, both A and B. Guys, don't rush without seeing the options, okay? It's not quiz, it's a neat exam. So don't ever rush to your options until or unless you see all four options. Both A and B are. Pura, both A and B. Eh? I remember the commensalism chart. Commensalism chart, right? If you see the interactions of the commensalism, question is, Shamli, yes. The question is, in which interaction does, right, both the partners, right, a mutually beneficial association necessary for survival of both the partners. Both the partners needs to get benefited, right? In which association? As simple as that, right? It is very basic question, at the same time memory question, easy question. Okay, like that we have an easy, moderate, difficulty level. Yeah, option A is correct. Right, exactly. Option A is correct. So you would have seen that interactions of yeah. So when you see the commensalism, is that species A positive? Species A is positive and species B is negative. For metric students, please try to understand that, and I will give the worksheet, then it will make more sense. Okay, and you would have the same kind of a terminology even in. Okay, this is simple example. Commensalism, right? Species A positive, species B negative. Yeah, it's neutral, B neutral. So option A is correct. So this is very easy question, right? So likewise, you need to have a practice, and we'll have questions from other lessons as well. Okay. Okay. Next question is, in desert grasslands, right? Which type of animals are relatively more abundant, right? So what I can do is, I will This is the model type of questions, guys. So even previous year's questions also I will be discussing, right? So you may get questions like in which biomes, right? Which organisms will be more abundant? Okay. So for example, here they asked about aquatic. Option A aquatic. Option B fossorial. Fossorial. Okay. Option B burrowing, right? And option C is uh, diurnal. Diurnal. Option D arboreal. Yeah. What now? You just try to pick the answer. 67 is. Yeah. Question is in desertic kind of an biome, which organisms are abundant? As simple as it. Anurashni, desertic biome, desert biome, which organisms are more abundant? The options are already given. Yeah, yeah. So now is it clear, guys? Yeah, this is how we will do it, because this is the first session with you guys, and this is so it would be I try to make as productive as possible. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, so I try to make this session as productive as possible and efficient. And from next classes, it will be more than this, right? I don't want to increase your expectations, because suddenly there would be a power cut. School means, there is a generator, so that we can have an continuous power supply. Okay, but now here it is not that possible, and this is an unusual situation. So we are what I can do, I'm trying to do my level best, and we will try to follow the same follow my instructions, and wait, you please start studying, right? I will be after 12 o'clock I will be posting the worksheet, so that you can read with the help of it. And the one, that is first thing. Second thing is that tomorrow's lessons, what are the topics you need me to explain, or to have a kind of a discussion, post to me, so that I will compile that, and I will tomorrow I will discuss, so that without wasting time we can go ahead. Okay. With this I will sign out from the class, and thank you for your good responses here. You guys are really interacting very well, and you please leave the feedback in our class group session as well. Okay. Thank you guys, and stay home, stay home and stay safe, and we'll meet you tomorrow. Is that clear? Tata. Take care. Thank you guys, and please leave the feedback, and before you leave, please subscribe and go, and bell icon also you click, so that you will get the notification. Like the video. Yeah, thank you guys, and leave the feedback there in class group. Thank you guys. Thank you. Okay, signing out. Thank you. Yeah. Okay, see you.